Mm. Hello. So, in today's lecture, we will be looking at the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic versus prokaryotic cell. So, now moving on towards the topic. First, we will be looking at the prokaryotic cell. So, look at the characteristics of prokaryotic cell. So, now the first thing that we'll be looking at is the cell wall. So prokaryotic cell will have cell wall, but this cell wall will be made up of non-cellulosic material. Non-cellulosic material. So the first thing that we have studied about prokaryotic cell is that prokaryotic cell will have a cell wall, and the cell wall is not is made up of non-cellulosic material. Cell wall is made up of non-cellulosic material. Next thing that we'll look at is in some prokaryotic cells we'll find the capsule is present. So many prokaryotic cells have capsule around them. Now if you look at the general structure of this, so here if suppose this is a prokaryotic cell, so this yellow color substance will be the plasma membrane. Now on outside of this you will find the cell wall. So this is the cell wall. Then surrounding the cell wall you will find the capsule. This green color structure is the capsule. So this is how the things are arranged here. Now on the innermost surface we have the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. Outside to the plasma membrane or cell membrane we have the cell wall, and surrounding the cell wall we have the capsule. Now if capsule is present, it is outside the cell wall. It is present outside the cell wall. Now many of the prokaryotic cells will have a capsule around them, and uh, the next point that we are going to look at is cell membrane unfolds to form mesosome. So cell membrane unfolds. So the cell membrane will unfolds to form mesosome. Now let us look at this. Now suppose this is the cell membrane. Now this cell membrane will fold inwards like this, and this will form a structure. Now this structure is known as mesosome. So mesosome is formed by the unfolding of the cell membrane. Now what is the function of the mesosome? It will control cellular respiration, able to control cellular respiration. Moving on to the next point. Now this is an important one. This point is an important one. Nucleus is absent. Prokaryotic cells. In prokaryotic cells, nucleus is absent. They don't have a nucleus. So in prokaryotic cells, nucleus is absent. Chromatin is chromatin is directly in contact with cytoplasm. Now, the chromatin or the DNA will be directly in connection with the cytoplasm since the nucleus is absent. Next, they have circular DNA. DNA is circular. Apart from that, we can see that the transcription and translation will occur in cytoplasm. Transcription and translation. These both processes will occur in cytoplasm. Now, let me tell you what do you mean by transcription and translation. Now, transcription is the process where we make mRNA using DNA, and translation is the process where we make proteins using that mRNA. So these both processes, that is the formation of mRNA and the formation of protein, both will take place in the cytoplasm. Now, next, if you look at the ribosomes, so here prokaryotes will have ribosomes of 70S. The larger subunit will be of 50S and the smaller subunit will be of 30S. So ribosomes will be of 70S. Here you can see that membrane bound organelles are absent. Membrane bound organelles are absent. Now, what do you mean by membrane bound organelles? The example of membrane bound organelles, let me give you some example. Like nucleus. Nucleus will be absent in prokaryotic cell. Apart from that, mitochondria is a membrane bound organelle. Now, all the organelles which have a membrane around them, those organelles will be absent. So mitochondria will be absent in prokaryotic cell. Endoplasmic reticulum will be absent in prokaryotic cell. Then Golgi will be absent in prokaryotic cell. These are some of the example. Apart from that, chloroplast will also be absent in prokaryotic cell. Next, moving on to the next thing that we have is the eukaryotic cell. Let us look at our second topic, that is the eukaryotic cell. Now I'll be looking at some characteristics of eukaryotic cell. Make sure to note this down, note these things down, or note these points down so that you can revise it afterwards. Now, moving on to the eukaryotic cell. Oh, yes, let me just give you some examples of prokaryotic cell. Also, examples of prokaryotic cell are bacteria. So, bacteria are the prokaryotic cell. Now, eukaryotic cell. In eukaryotic cell, you will find that the capsule is absent. These cells will have no capsule. So, capsule is absent. Now, cell wall is present, but not in all the cells. You can find the cell wall in plant cell and also in fungal cell. So basically in plant cell it is made up of cellulose. So you can say that plant cell, cellulosic cell wall. In fungal cell it is non-cellulosic cell wall. Next thing is mesosome is absent. Mesosome is absent in eukaryotic cell. If you remember mesosome is the unfolding of the plasma membrane, which we studied recently just now, a few minutes ago, when we were discussing about the prokaryotic cell. It was used to control the cellular respiration. So, moving on to the next point, here you will find that nucleus is present. So, nucleus is present. So, this is the main distinguishing character between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotes do not have a nucleus, whereas eukaryotes will have a nucleus. Now, talking about the DNA. So, in prokaryotes, the DNA was circular. In eukaryotes, the DNA will be linear. So, DNA is linear. Transcription. Now, here we'll look at the processes. Transcription. Transcription in eukaryote will occur in the nucleus. Transcription was the process of making mRNA using DNA. And next, translation. Here the translation occurs in the cytoplasm. So translation occurs in the cytoplasm. Translation is the process of making proteins using mRNA. So transcription occurs in the nucleus and translation occurs in the cytoplasm. In eukaryotes, both these processes were carried out in the nucleus, were carried out in the cytoplasm. But in eukaryotes, transcription will occur in the nucleus, whereas the translation process will occur in the cytoplasm. Now moving on to the next part, that is the ribosome. So here we have the ribosome. Ribosome is of 80S. Uh, the larger subunit is of 60S and the smaller subunit is of 40S. You can find that organelles are present, or membrane-bound organelles are present here, like mitochondria, chloroplast. Now, obviously, chloroplast will be present in plant cell, but mitochondria will be present in all the cell. ER will be present, Golgi bodies will be present. So, yeah, membrane-bound organelles will be present. So, these are some of the distinguishing characters between prokaryote and eukaryote. I hope you have must have understood this lecture. If you have any doubt regarding this topic, then ask the questions in the comment section and I will try to answer each and every one of you. So thank you very much.